I'm kind of grateful about this incident in the Suez Canal. Why? In these times of digital transformation, we do comparatively hard to visualize or to imagine things that are going on, because the most people are linked to things they can see, hear, and taste, so they and feel. So this is what they look for, and everybody from us now has this choke point before his eyes. You can see the hundreds of tankers waiting to pass by. We all can see that. Actually, what we don't see so well are bits and bytes as they come up, for example, through updates like on Facebook, as you just said. One of the largest cyber attacks we had in the past couple of months in the US, actually was SolarWinds that came over, spilled over to a lot of security institutions here in Europe as well. And last week, again, we had some very large cyber attacks coming up, but nobody cares too much in the public, because you don't see the bits and bytes, you don't see immediately what's going on. And so to this end, this is a kind of eye-opener, what we have seen in Suez, that shows us the complexity that Professor Gorge has talked about, that we need to be able to deal with. And while we are, let me just put this right away, while we are still struggling very much with the digital transformation as such, the next dinosaur, which is quantum, is coming across the house, across the corner. Actually, with quantum, you can see around corners. Quantum can be two places at the same time. So imagine how will we be able to manage complexity if we fail already in real life, like on the Suez, which obviously has been an accident, but which could also be an targeted incident in gray zone and hybrid operations. And this kind of disturbance, of falsification of lines of communication, disruption of information, all of this in principle is in front of us, as in principle the boundaries between civil and military competition are fluid. We can see Russia and China and Iran. I promised you, Liviu, I would discuss that. We can see them integrate civil and military competition at every level, including the development of their international trade, investment, national technology base, political and diplomatic activities. Actually, right now, we are in a deep struggle with China about value chains and supply chains. Trump, in principle, was facing the problem. China, at the same time, was already building new international supply chains and lines of communication to have alternatives, actually, to move on with. And as in these times, actors strive to stick below the threshold of war. They look for all gray zone activities that in this complex world have a role. And when you look at that, you could talk, the Europeans are more or less fixed to a kind of chess game. So who is stronger, who makes this path, while we see in Asia more the go game that is trying to keep others from moving, get them stuck in certain positions. So we are dealing with this complexity in every way we have to deal with, about our living circumstances, about communication. 5G is one of these things. Do you still own your communication? Is it true what you hear and what you see? We know that there are more or less real-time fakes possible in videos as we speak. So is it true what we read, what we see, what we hear? Is it true? We have to think about migration issues. We have to think about economic commodities moving on. So there are plenty of things that we have to struggle with. And I'm in a way pleased that the new US President Biden just issued a couple of days ago his interim national security strategic guidance, where he's pointing at a world at an inflection point, a moment of accelerating global challenges, and then he would highlight in principle that the world's leading powers are racing to develop and deploy emerging technologies that could shape everything from the economic and military balance among states to the future of work, wealth, and the way of life. So a lot of change going on, and as I said, this incident in SUEZ actually has shown to us how it looks like in the material world, while similar, perhaps even much more important things are happening in the virtual world. What to do about that? Actually, when you look at these new technologies, they provide us with a lot of possibilities. Modeling and simulation, for example, you can be sure that Chinese and Russian strategic players model our vulnerabilities, to include choke points like the Suez Channel. So the question comes, why don't we model our own vulnerabilities to be better able to deal with them? In principle, I think AI can help us with that, modeling and simulation, operations research, a lot of features. We are compelled to come up with better strategic foresight, where we are not surprised again and again by the pandemic, Corona, by the channel problem in Suez, by the financial crisis, but where we use these modern technologies to our advantage to be better prepared, and in fact then also to train dealing with these situations as they come up. And here I foresee, to come to a close, I foresee a world where we clearly have to cooperate with others, which would again include China, Russia, Iran, where we have to compete with others, and where we also have to stand up against others if it needs to be, because in the end we want to protect our way of life, our human rights. We want to protect our democracies as they are, the civil rights that we have. So just cooperation is not good enough. Just competition is not good enough. We also have to stand up occasionally, and to find here the right strike, here the right balance is something we need to go for. And here again, the SUEZ incident is a vivid example what things can occur if you don't care in time. Thank you.